Thank you. I'm having the best week of my life. I mean that. I just performed Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in Carnegie Hall on Sunday to an absolutely packed out crowd. You know what it's like standing on the stage of Carnegie Hall and looking up 4 balconies high, 2,700 people at the end of a concert with everybody applauding and crying and 9 minutes standing ovation. It's nothing like it. And next week, I'm with my youth orchestra in Symphony Hall in Boston. We're doing a concert on Friday night with rehearsal tomorrow. And I'm turning 84 on Wednesday, and I'm happy. And I want to, I'm having such a good life, and I just want to share a little bit about why I'm having such a good life. It's a great time. I want to share with you 2 flip charts. This is a flip chart. We call this the downward spiral. This is shaped like this, and this is the place for competition and winning and losing and success and failure and disease. And this is where most of our life is spent. It actually goes up as well, but like the stock market, when it's going up, we're worried about it coming down, so we call it the downward spiral. And it's where most of our grandchildren live their lives. This is a totally different world. This is a world of radiating possibility, and it's shaped like this. It's completely different. And these arrows are going out, and we know not where they're going. Now, classical music lives here. And so, by definition, when we're in this place, if I play this, even though you're tired and you've been sitting here for 4 hours, you don't feel tired when you hear that music. It affects you so deeply and so powerfully. And so our job is to make sure that we learn to move from this world of downward spiral where fear lives. And of course, it's driven by ambition and fear. And the place here is driven by community, inclusiveness, and by love. Right? It's a totally different world. So the discipline of the art of possibility, and we have a book called The Art of Possibility. The discipline is learning to move from this place of argument and tension and anxiety and pressure and all the downward spirals into the world of possibility. And leadership is taking people with you. It's as simple as that. And classical music takes us inevitably there. Now, it doesn't happen just because it's classical, because classical music can be very boring too. My former wife told me she was in a dental chair the other day and there was classical music playing on the loudspeakers. She preferred the drill. But it's not that difficult to get to the world of classical music as we want to hear it. If you have grandchildren at home who play the piano and they play like this, that's not yet classical music. And they practice and they take lessons, and then that was the 7-year-old. The 8-year-old plays like this. And the 9-year-old plays like this. the 10-year-old plays like this. At that point, they usually give up. But if they waited one more year, you would have heard this. And what happened was there was a reduction of impulses. A reduction of impulse. That's all. So if you have a 7-year-old child or great-grandchild, just tell them to reduce the impulses and they'll sound like an artist. So the classical music way of being, if you like, is that it has to be buoyant, it has to be lively. Leon Fleischer said, classical music is an act of anti-gravity. And so when it takes us up into that world of the anti-gravity, then we're really in that world. And Mozart does that. Mozart, just by hearing Mozart, by hearing any phrase of Mozart, when you hear Mozart, you think that everything is right with the world. Of course, we had to fill Symphony Hall and Carnegie Hall with people. And how do we do that? Well, we do anything we can. We stop at nothing. You know, the other day I was sitting at the piano and I was playing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which we were just about to perform, and I was playing, or it was like, and the phone rang. And the phone was right there, and I picked up the phone, but I didn't stop playing the piano. I went on, and I just put the phone like that, and it was a telemarketer. Usually when the telemarketers call, I say, he's dead. Somebody said, I'm sorry to hear it. I said, actually, I was quite relieved. Anyway, I was playing away, and he went on talking. He wanted to sell me some silver. And eventually he said, you sing beautifully. And I said, I'm not a singer. I'm actually a conductor. He said, what's that? I said, I conduct orchestras. And we talked for a while, and he turned out he lived in New York, and so he came to the concert. and then he brought his mom. She'd never been to a concert either. So we stop at nothing to enable people to come. Now, the characteristic of the person of this is that we have shining eyes. That's the state of being. And I discovered something very important. When I was about 45, I discovered that the conductor doesn't make a sound. He's powerful, but he gets his power from his ability to make other people powerful. And when I discovered that, I realized that my job is to awaken possibility in other people. And you know how I know if that's being done? If the eyes are shining. If the player's eyes are shining, I know I'm doing it. If the eyes are not shining, I ask myself this question: who am I being that my players' eyes are not shining? And we can do that with our children too, and our grandchildren, and our spouses, and our workers. Because the eyes will always tell you what is really going on there. But you know, after a while, I wanted to know more than I could find out by looking at those eyes. So I invented a new way of finding out. I took a white sheet of paper like this, and I put it on the stand of every single musician in every orchestra that I conduct, like that. And the invitation is to speak to me about anything that they have on their mind. And I just got one at about 8 o'clock this morning. I thought I'd share it with you. It's beautiful. It's from a side drum player. You know, the side drum players usually don't have much to say. They're stuck in the back there playing. She wrote, "Dear Maestro, hello. I wanted to start by saying that I'm incredibly excited about our concert in Symphony Hall next week. That's on Friday night. If anybody's in Boston, please come. Not only because I love the repertoire. The last time I heard Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 5 in person was in Malaysia before COVID, but also because it will be a very important moment for me, being given the chance to play the solo snare drum part for the Bartók Concerto for Orchestra." Anybody who knows that's one of the great solos for the side drum in the incredible Symphony Hall, which is even better than Carnegie Hall. Imagine that. I just threw that in. All right. Where it was originally premiered, imagine, Bartók was lying on his deathbed in a hospital, and Koussevitzky came to visit him and said, "You have to write a piece for the Boston Symphony." He said, "I'm too ill, I can't do it." He said, "You have to do it. I'll give you this princely sum of $1,000. And Bartók, very close to death and very worried that he was leaving his wife without any resources, got out of bed and wrote the most affirmative piece of music written in the 20th century. Imagine that. And we're playing that on Friday in Symphony Hall with this youth orchestra. It's so exciting. Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, what did she say? All right, so be given the chance to play the solo snare drum for the Bartók in the incredible Symphony Hall where it was originally premiered. But now with our amazing youth orchestra, just thinking that there will be people coming to our concert listening to classical music for the first time, or listening to Tchaikovsky or Bartók for the first time, makes me determined to create a memorable experience for them. I am thus taking extra care in order to perfect my playing and truly convey my love for the music we are playing to our audience. This is an 18-year-old kid who's just about to burst into life here. Therefore, I would like to ask for your opinion on the Lo stesso tempo section in Bartók's Concerto for Orchestra, Movement 2. Now she's telling her conductor what worries her about the performance, all right? She's being very specific. Starting from measure 1, 2, 3, 123, during which the brass and the snare drum have several exchanges of phrases. My main concern is that right after my snare phrase ends in bar 129 and the brass takes over, there's a gap of silence in between where they are breathing. That seems just a little too long. Which I feel creates an interruption in the flow of the music. This also happens in measure 135. I wanted to ask you if there is anything I should be keeping in mind during this section in order to allow the exchanges of phrases to happen more smoothly, and if it would be possible for us to revisit this section in particular for our next rehearsal. Hope to hear back from you soon. You wonder why I'm happy? Is this incredible? This is a member of 130 kids in the orchestra. They all have a free path to me, to ask me anything. And she's worried about that moment. And so she writes me this morning, just arrived. So that's happiness. I don't know about you, but that's happiness for me. Because they're totally engaged. They're totally in love with music. And you know what? They're not in the downward spiral of competition and fear and anxiety and pressure and who's better and winning and losing. It's all about love and communication. And we have 4-hour rehearsals on Saturday afternoon, and they go, and the youngest is 12 to 21. right? And just like you've been sitting here for 4 hours too, right? But you know, isn't it interesting when you're engaged in something that is creating possibility, you don't feel tired? Isn't that amazing? And that's not because I'm highly entertaining, which I am, but no. You know, the vicar who thinks people come to the church to see him gets taken away in a white van. This is not about the vicar, right? This is about this power that I call possibility that is available to everybody at every moment of every day. And we have a choice every time we open our mouths, whether we're going to speak in the downward spiral or speak in possibility. That's open to us at every single moment. And we have this incredible music to back it up, to express it. What can I share with you here? Heroica march. Let's say you lose somebody you love very much. Do you hear that note? It's like a dagger in the heart. And Beethoven knew exactly what to write there in order to create that sense of terrible sadness and loss. Now, I'll tell you a lovely story. There was a young girl in Vienna called Alma. And Alma fell in love with Mahler. And one day, he wrote a letter to her, but it wasn't with words, it was with music. And she could read it because she was a musician, so she just read it. She didn't need to hear it. She had, and this is how it went. Began. Imagine getting that message. And she said, "Oh my God, he loves me." And she went to see him just from that music. Now that piece has been very misunderstood over the years. People thought it was about death and it was a kind of music for the funeral. They used it in Death in Venice, imagine. Completely playing it at the wrong tempo. And that's what happened to me with the Beethoven Ninth Symphony, as I realized that they had played this piece largely at the wrong tempo. And so I was followed by a crew of filmmakers, and they just completed the film in Carnegie Hall last Sunday. It's going to be a documentary about my 40-year journey with the Beethoven Ninth Symphony. And that's going to come to fruition in a documentary. You're wondering why I'm so happy? This is an incredible journey. And every tempo of Beethoven has been restored to the original idea that he had. And it's so exciting. And so, would you like to sing that? Right, let's see. If you have a sheet of paper in front of you with the words, should we do this? That'd be great. Where are the words? Here. So what we have to do is we have to get the words first. Let me teach you. So the first line, I'm going to read it in German. It's going to come out sounding in English. No, I'm going to read it in English. It's going to come out sounding in German. Right, I got it right. Okay, so I read it and you read after me. Freude, schöne Götterfunken. Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten feuertrunken. Himmlischer dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder. was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Sounds exactly like German. Brilliant, brilliant. Let's do it one more time all together so you really get to know it, and then we'll sing it. Everybody from the beginning. Freude, schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten, feuertrunken, himmlischer dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Well, you know the song? Let's sing it. Freude, schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten feuertrunken, himmlischer dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel. Well done, it sounded really good. I was looking around and I saw several of you going, Freude, schöne Götter. So we want a little bit more swing to it. So we're going to do it again, but with a little bit more swing like that. I'm going to lead it. Here we go. Freude, schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten feuertrunken. Yeah, I hear some serious holding back in this room. I want to tell you, I had a student who came to me for an audition. He was going for a very important audition. He wanted to be the cellist, the associate principal cellist in Barcelona. And he lived in Barcelona. And he came to play for me. He played well, but he was holding back. And so I said to him, you know, I think you may get into the orchestra, but I don't think they'll make you the associate principal cellist, because to be a leader, you have to open up possibility for people that they don't even know about. And you're not doing that. And so I went to the piano and I started playing, and he started playing, and his hair was flying and his sweat was pouring like this, and he was playing flat out. And I said, that's it, that's the way to play. Now, if you play that way, they won't be able to resist you. You'll get that job. And so when he left for his audition, I said, now, Marius, don't play the first way, play the second way. He said, oh yeah, I play second way. So he came back 3 weeks later and I said, Marius, how did it go? And he said, I didn't get the job. I said, what happened? He said, play first way. So I say, never mind, Marius, never mind. Yeah, I was about to tell him you'll get other chances. He said, no, you haven't heard the whole story. And then in his very heavy Spanish accent, he said, I was so pissed off, he said. I was so pissed off, I said, fuck it, he said. He said, I'm going to go to Madrid and I'm going to do the audition in Madrid for the first cello position. And I won the job. Twice the salary of the other job. I said, what happened? He said, I play second way. So we introduced a new distinction into my class, which was beyond the fuck it. And all my students know beyond the pocket, and I was at a Catholic girls' school in California, and the headmistress, and I told them that, and the headmistress wrote me a letter. BTFI has become our school motto. This is the song they sang played over the loudspeakers in Tiananmen Square during the revolution. This is the song they played when the wall fell down in Berlin, and I'm going to tell you now exactly what Beethoven was saying when he set this song. Joy, Freude, schöne Götterfunken, God-like shining bright light, daughter of Elysium. Wir betreten, we stand, feuertrunken, drunk with fire, himmlischer dein Heiligtum, at your heavenly holy place. Talking to God. Then he says, deine Zauber, your magic, binden wieder, binds together, was die Mode streng geteilt, what habit and fashion have torn apart. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, all human beings will be as brothers. Wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt, where your soft wings do waft. So this is a song to the possibility that human beings can be. The vision is alle Menschen werden Brüder. We will live together as brothers. But the line before is the crucial one. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. We cannot get to that vision unless we are willing to give up our assumptions, our prejudices, our habits, our fashions, what we all carry into life as a burden. If we give those up, we have the possibility of a vision of brotherhood between all mankind. That's a powerful idea. And Beethoven found a way of expressing that in music with such simplicity, a theme so simple, da 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 da. Every child can play it on the block flute, on the violin, on the piano. Any child, just da 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 dee da dee. But music of such beauty, such what? Recorder. On the recorder, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a genius idea. It's a vision for all of mankind. It takes terrific discipline, just as moving from the downward spiral to radiating possibility takes vigilance and discipline at every single moment, because we easily fall into the downward spiral of demeaning people. You know, I give my students an A in the first class of the year before the class begins. They get an A. And the only condition is they have to write me a letter in the first 2 weeks, but it's dated May of the next year when the class ends. And it has to begin, Dear Mr. Zander, I got my A because, and then they write who they will have become by next May to justify this extraordinary grade. And I tell them to fall passionately in love with the person they're describing in the letter. And they do. They write about who they could be, who they would be, who they see themselves as, if only that damn voice on the right-hand side, left-hand side, didn't tell them that they couldn't do it. And you see, when I come into class, the person I teach is the person they've described in their letter. I only take A students. That nice. Means I'm surrounded by stars. Right? So that's an act of possibility. That's moving from the constant measuring, comparisons. Any measurement is in the downward spiral. Possibility lives beyond measurement. And that's what Beethoven is talking about. It's an extraordinary vision for human beings. If we can get that journey from here to there, and he helps us with the most glorious music. So can we sing it one more time? BTFI, are you willing? Here we go. And if you can stand up, because it's even better to sing standing up than it is sitting down. Okay, here we go. Freude, schöner Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten feuertrunken, himmlischer dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel war. Bravo! That was fantastic. You know, every week I give my students an assignment, and they get a different assignment every week, and it's not an assignment they can accomplish. It's an assignment they can live into as a possibility. And I wanted to share this week what the assignment is. Have a week in which intensity is raised in every aspect of your life. All communication, all experiences, and everything you do. That's their assignment. And they start at 12. And you know, by the time they're grown, they're leaders by definition. And they're leading the world. You know, and I think we have reason to be very excited about what's happening in the world with all these amazing stories that are going on in the scientific world. But you know, human beings have, through the intellect, have gained dominion over the entire world. But what they've forgotten is the need for the heart. Thank you. Thank you. Let's have lunch.
That is the most fun I'm going to have all week. I guarantee you. That was awesome.
Great.
What did BT? What?
BTFI.
Yeah. And say what it means again.
Beyond the pocket.
BTFI. All right. Remember that.
Let me tell you one last thing. I have a website which is not to promote my work, but is to promote your life. And what it is, it's an immersion in music and possibility, and it's full of music. I'm the guide, and my dream is that you will go into that and take people with you, particularly your grandchildren, and share all about classical music, because it will enhance their life. It's benjaminzander.org. And it has the TED Talk which I gave, which has been seen by 22 million people, which proves that my theory that everybody loves classical music, they just haven't found out about it yet. So please go there and enjoy it and share it with other people. Thank you.
Thank you.